Welcome back, everybody. So I guess I thought it was going to be like a Utah shape, but it's not. So if you have cut off the title or something, I need you to go find it because I like this. Expressions with more than one operation. I've cut around the blue part and it comes all the way down here to number 17. And I'm going to take my journal and I'm going to get it glued in. Remember not to cover any of the dots, and it actually works really well in this situation. So go ahead and get it taped in how you need it to get it, or glued in, whichever one you'd like. And then push pause on the video until you get that done. So when we're dealing with expressions that have more than one operation, we are kind of stuck in a situation where we really need to know the order of operations. So take a look at that blue chart and make sure that you understand what it's saying. It says step 1, perform operations inside parentheses. We talked about that already, right? You really do have to put the parentheses first. Then it says step 2 is to multiply and divide from left to right. So then you're starting to look for multiplication and division operations. And if there's both of them, then you just move left to right. You just move left to right and you solve it in that order. After you've done multiplication and division, you then look for addition and subtraction. And whichever one comes first, if you're working left to right, you just do that. If they're both add, then you work left to right. If they're both subtract, you work left to right, vice versa. Okay? Vice versa means works both ways. Okay. So we now know all those order of operations. So you can see kind of how they did the first one. They said multiply 11 and 15. You have to do that part first, because multiplication comes before addition. I like to think of it, I like to write PEMDAS up here. Let's just write it real quick in this violet red color. And then I'm going to use my brown to show you multiply and divide go together, and add and subtract go together. But if there's parentheses, you have to do those first. Then you do one of these, or add and subtract, whatever's there. So I have to do the multiplication first over here. So that's why they did 11. So multiply 11 to 15 and then add 3. Okay? So let's look at how they did the next set. But if they put parentheses, then you have to do this one. Add 15 and 3 and then multiply by 11. I like the phrases do this and then. I really like that. In fact, I'm sorry if we didn't do that on the previous page, but I really like that idea. So let's look at number 10. Consider the expression. It has a 12 divided by, and then in parentheses it has 5 plus 2. So which operation is done first, division or addition? Think about it. Well, there's parentheses, right? So addition is done first. And here's what I'm going to write. I'm going to say addition, and then with an arrow, I'm going to say because there are parentheses. If there was not parentheses, you would not do that part first. So that's really important to remember. Then it says B, write the computation in words. So now we're doing what they did above. So remember, they have a problem that's similar to this. So let's kind of copy what they've said. They put the parentheses and they said add 15 and 3. So in our situation, we're going to say add 5 and 2. And then, how do we do this part? Because theirs is easy. And then multiply by 11. But ours has a division. So we'll have to say, and then, ooh, I actually don't like the way we started this one. Because we have division, it is more complicated. Because see, if we just say add 5 and 2 and then divide by 12, that's not what's happening. We're doing 12 divided by that answer. So we might have to say, find the sum of 5 and 2. No, that's add 5 and 2, same thing. How would we do this? Think about it. 12 divided by the sum of 5 and 2. That's what I would do. All right. Why didn't it work the same as what's above? Because division and subtraction are harder. They always are. They're harder from the time we're little. So it even becomes harder in computation. So we say, divide 12 by. The sum of 5 and 2. So that means you can't do anything until you find the sum of 2. Then you're going to do 12 divided by that. Does that make sense? Okay, that was a little harder. Okay, now look at what they've done. Which operation is done first on number 11? There's no parentheses. So come back up here to PEMDAS, or step 1. If there's no parentheses, then I need to do this. I need to do the multiplication or division. So which operation is done first in this expression? It's the division. So I write division. Then it says, write the computation in words. Okay. You could say, add 2 to the quotient of 12 divided by 5. Or I could say 12 divided by 5, or divide 12 by 5, then add 2. I think that's easier. Divide 12 by 5, then add 2. Divide 12 by 5 and then add 2. Okay, number 12. See, they're getting harder because why? We have more than one operation. It's supposed to be getting harder. So nice job hanging in there. Let's try number 12. It says, write the computation in words. Think about the order of operations. Remember, order of operations means PEMDAS. It's the 3 steps above in the blue box, or what we wrote above. Okay. So what are we going to do first here? Are we going to do the subtraction or the parentheses with addition? The parentheses, right, with addition. So I'm going to say, well, you could say subtract the sum of 2.1 and 1.2 from 3.5. Or I could say add 2.1 and 1.2, then subtract that from 3.5. Let's do that. Add 2.1 and 1.2. Then subtract the sum from 3.5. Add 2.1 and 1.2, then subtract the sum from 3.5. Is there another way to have said this? Yeah, I want you to think about it. What other way could this one have been said? It could have said, subtract the sum of 2.1 and 1.2 from 3.5. Okay, what does number 13 mean? I have a 1/2, a plus, a 3/4, and a times, and a t. So, using the order of operations, there's no parentheses. So what do I do first? The add or the multiply? Look up at your order of operations. I don't have parentheses, so I don't do step 1. Do I have a multiply or divide? Because that's what comes next. I do. I have a multiply. So I have to do the multiplication first. So I would say, in this situation, I would say multiply 3/4 and t and then add 1/2. Does that make sense? I multiply this first, and then I add that to a half. This is why multiplication and addition just is easier, because of the way it happens. Number 14. In my head, I'm just thinking, okay, 25 minus 10, and then divide by 5, right? But I'm trying to use some really good computation words. So, are there parentheses in number 14? Yeah, point to them. Really, I want both fingers on your paper pointing to them in 3, 2, 1. You should have pointed. They are surrounding the 25 and the 10. So I have to do that first. So I can say subtract 10 from 25. And then divide by 5. That one's a little easier because they gave me the subtraction first and it's over here on the left. So that was easier. Subtract 10 from 25 and then divide by 5. Okay, now we get to write the numbers or the expression. Think about the order of operations. It means it's going to get a little complicated. Multiply the sum. Ooh, will you go above the word multiply and write the multiplication symbol? We can do a dot or an X. Let's do a dot. And then what was the symbol for sum? It's a plus sign. So put sum, the plus sign. So we have two operations we have to do. So multiply the sum of P and 3 by 0.1. Remember the phrase multiply and by go together. So I'm finding the sum of P and 3. So what does that mean? It means this, P plus 3. That's the sum of P and 3. And then I'm supposed to multiply that by 0.1. There's my multiplication symbol. And now I've got to put in the 0.1. Before you think we're finished, I want you to look at that problem. Something's missing from this problem. If anyone were to just to come walk in this door right now and look at number 15, here's what they would think it says. Multiply 3 by 0.1 and then add P. That is not what the words are telling us to do. So we have to use our own parentheses to force someone to look at that part first. So what is the part that needed to be looked at first? Well, think of order of operations. Let's come back up here to our blue box. What should come first? Multiply or add? Well, it would be multiply. So they would start right there. But I don't want them to start right there because I'm supposed to add P and 3. So here's what I do. I'm going to use my brown. I'm going to put my own parentheses in here where they belong. I put them around the P and I put them around the 3. So now I would know I find the sum of this and then I multiply it. Yeah, I multiplied the sum of that by 0.1. We did pretty good. Pretty hard though. Number 16. Divide 36 by 4 and then add 3. Oh, that one's actually really easy because they use the word and then. Easy. Divide 36 by 4. You know that says 36 divided by 4. And that's exactly what it asked me to do. Divide 36 by 4. And then it says, and then add 3. So it had to have division. Then it says, and then, so that means I know after I do this, I just add 3. Do I need parentheses here? Would division come first or addition come first in the order of operations? Division comes first. So am I supposed to be doing division first? Yeah. Divide 36 by 4. So I don't need parentheses. That's pretty cool. Number 17. Add the product. Oh man, we have an addition and we have product. So we're going to have an addition symbol. We're going to have a multiplication symbol. add the product of 2 and 5 to the product again. Oh, the word 2 is interesting. And then I'm going to have the product again of 9 and 8. Add the product of 2 and 5 to the product of 9 and 8. So I'm adding this, the product of 2 and 5, to the product of 9 and 8. Look at my colors I just used. I used brown for the product of 2 and 5, and I used red-violet for the product of 9 and 8. Okay, so I add the product of 2 and 5 to the product of 9 and 8. So first of all, product means multiply. So I've got to put in there 2 times 5. And I've got to put in there 9 times 8. I'm just putting them directly under what's circled. I'm supposed to add whatever this answer is to whatever that answer is. So I'm going to maybe want a set of parentheses, but because it says add this to that, I would put the plus sign in the middle. 2 times 5 plus 9 times 8, right? So I'm going to need, because they specifically want me to find the product of 2 and 5, I'm going to want parentheses. I'm also going to want parentheses in my other one where it says product of 9 and 8. So use the right colors for that. So it looks like parentheses 2 plus 5 plus parentheses 9 plus 8. It's pretty awesome. Okay, when we solve expressions using the order of operations, it has to go in a certain way. That is critical. It's important for you to remember that. So at the bottom, we're going to write, when solving expressions with more than one operation, pretty sure we wrote something just like this a minute ago. When solving expressions with more than one operation, use, and this time instead of writing the order of operations, we're just going to write PEMDAS. Our next math lesson will consist of learning more about PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. But until then, we're just going to get it written on here, okay? All right, what I want you to do next is we are done with our math journal, but I really think it's going to be helpful to us as we look at our homework and remembering. So you're going to leave your journal out, but you're going to go find homework and remembering. If you haven't picked one up yet for today, pick it up. If you've worked on it with a group with Ms. Fisher, that's okay too. We just kind of want to go over the homework side so that you are clear about how to do this. So it says that I'm considering this expression. It says what happens first, write the computation in words. What happens first, write the computation in words. Here's why it's going to be super helpful to you. Because I can look at my journal and go, okay, where is there a problem that has parentheses and I'm subtracting from something? So I look at all my examples. Has parentheses and I'm subtracting from something. Do you see it anywhere? Look at number 12. It has parentheses, and I was subtracting from something. So I get to use this example, except for different numbers, because I have different numbers here. So if I look very similarly, look, this one says add 2.1 and 1.2, then subtract the sum from 3.5. So this computation in words could be subtract the sum of 3/4 and 5/8 from 2.5. going to have to answer A for sure. That's going to be you. Number 2, write this expression. Is there one where they were doing multiply and addition? Look at your journal. Use your resources. This is how you use your math journal. I'm looking for one that has addition and multiplication. Well, this one does. Right up here at the very beginning. They had multiply first. The one in our assignment has addition first, then multiply. So is there one that has addition first and then multiply? Number 13. So they just said multiply. So remember, you have to do the multiplication first. So multiply this and this, and then add. So I would say in words 2B, multiply 6 and 0.1, and then add 4.5. You're going to be having to solve all these other ones we're not doing. Numbers 3, 4, 5, and 6, you can do this. I think the hardest one might be number 5, so let's look at number 5 together. Are we going to do divide first or subtract first? Think about the order of operations. In fact, let's come right here and write the order of operations. Let's just write PEMDAS real quick. Everybody should be doing this. Okay. So number 5, do I do division first or do I do subtraction first? What comes first in PEMDAS? Division does. So I'm going to say divide 3.6 by 0.4. And then subtract 0.5. Number 6, look, it's got 2 steps as well. So what do you do first here? You have to start in the parentheses. So you'll say add 6 and 7 and then multiply by 5. That's pretty easy. Look, you don't actually have to solve these. You're just writing them. It's pretty awesome. Number 3, I hope you know how to do that. And number 4, remember to start with the word subtract. And you can't just say subtract 8 and t. Remember, you're going to say subtract t from 8. You got to use those turnaround words. Subtract t from 8. And number 3, you start with division. So you say divide 7 by a 7th. Okay. But on 7, 8, 9, and 10, you are writing the expression. I'm not going to help you with 7. I think number 8 might be good to help you with. It says subtract the product of 5 and 11. Product of 5 and 11 means multiply. So you have to have that on there, the 5 times 11. You have to. But you're supposed to subtract that from 100. So remember, subtract from means I turn around and it does that. I don't need parentheses because multiplication would happen first because it's the order of operations. So that's how that one works. You got number 9. Number 10. Oh, this is a good one. Multiply 42. That would mean you're going to be using multiply 42 by the sum of 4 and r. Okay, so sum of 4 and r means that. But if I just put it on there as 4 plus r times 42, the multiplication would have to go first. So I must put parentheses in here. And I'm supposed to do the sum of 4 and r, not r with 42, but r with 4. So that's why I need parentheses over the 4 plus r. So you put parentheses there. And it forces someone to do that part first. Okay, so you're going to complete all of the ones we didn't do. You're welcome. And then on the remembering side, you have quite the task. A lot of division is happening. And so guess what I'm going to make you do? You need to do all of this work on a separate piece of paper. All of it. Then you need to transfer your answers. I guess I should just say 1 through 9. Use your color. Then transfer answers. Some of you think you could just write math journal or not transfer your answers. You need to transfer your answers. So if you do your work on a separate piece of paper and then transfer your answers to this paper and staple, you must staple it together. Otherwise, I don't know where all of your work is and you won't get any credit. So here's my rule. If you do not do your work on a separate piece of paper and you do not staple that paper to this paper and you don't transfer your answers to here, you're going to end up owing me probably 3 stamps because there's 3 parts to this. Work it on a separate piece of paper, that's 1. Transfer it, that's 2. Staple it together, that's 3. You do not have to do stretch your thinking, but you'll need to do 1 through 9 on a separate piece of paper on remembering, and you'll need to do number 10. You could just do number 10 off to the side. I think you'll have enough space. Plus finish the ones on homework that we didn't do. Use your journal for resources, and we'll catch you next time.